What you're about to watch is from the most recent live stream. This is the actual math that I go through to find the CR numbers and compare it to what's printed. And with that intro out of the way, let's get right into the video. And sure enough, here we go, the Meenlock. A fun little small fae that is neutral evil and has telepathy of its only means of communication. Alright, so as we do, let's jump right into looking at its initial stats, what I like to call the base stats, ignoring speed because we just don't care about speed. And our Meenlock has a natural armor of 15 AC. So we'll tap that in, and already we're seeing that our base AC hasn't moved on the side here, but the effective AC, or the effective DCR has shifted already once, because at this level, right off the bat with 4 hit points, we're expecting an AC of 13. So now that we have a 15, we can see that +2 shift, resulting in a +1 shift in the DCR section already, without even looking. Next, we will add in the hit points of 31 average, which comes from... first, let's swap this to a small fae, and also put in the fact that we're looking for a DCR2, or a CR2, excuse me. So we'll switch to the hit dice and put in 7d6, and switch that Constitution bonus to a 12. And we don't need Wisdom or Charisma here, because Charisma is for the Fiendish Blessing, and the Wisdom is used for Psychic Defense. I finally found it on my list. It's with the Githzerai Monk. Of course it would be. Alright. Now that we have those two items situated, let's take a look at our skills and traits section here. So, our monster, the Meenlock, has skills in perception, stealth, and survival. We don't care about that. It's not going to affect our monster whatsoever. And we don't have any kind of immunities or resistances besides condition immunities, but condition immunities don't matter either. At least as far as I'm aware. And in the book, from what I remember reading, condition immunities don't matter. So we can skip right over that. And then we have 120 feet dark vision and impassive perception. Again, doesn't matter. We're going to move on. So now that we have that set out of the way, let's take a look at the traits down here. And first off, we have Fear Aura. Any beast or humanoid that starts his turn within 10 feet of the Meenlock must succeed on a DC 11 Wisdom saving throw or be frightened until the start of the creature's next turn. Okay, that's pretty handy. We can actually put that in as a Frightful Presence, probably, considering that it's going to happen all the time anyways, and even with dragons, that's always happening every action as well. So there is a little bit of a question here, since with dragons... I don't recall exactly. I think it's an AoE, the dragon thing. I'd have to look that up later, and I don't want to stop now because, you know, I only have so much time I like to allot for these live streams. So let's throw in Frightful Presence, which is going to give us +9 effective hit points, because the fear only adds 1.25 times the hit points. And our Meenlock's hit points go from a 31 in the defensive section to an effective hit points of 38 with the addition of Frightful Presence here because of the Fear Aura. Now on top of that, our Meenlock has light sensitivity, so while it's in bright light, it has disadvantage on attack rolls and wisdom perception checks, but that doesn't matter because it quite literally states in the book, in the Dungeon Master's Guide, for light sensitivity, there's no effect. So we can skip over that. Now, the next thing it has is Shadow Teleport. Now, I already attempted to work on the Meenlock just because I wanted to see what this thing would come out rated as, and I have a feeling that this ability here, Shadow Teleport, is going to be the linchpin. We can figure that out later on because it allows the Meenlock to just shift immediately as a bonus action. So because of that whole bonus action thing, this might be similar to the Nimble Escape, and that can be extremely important. With that, let's take a look at the only action that the Meenlock has, which is Claws. And the Claw attack has a +4 to hit, so we will go ahead and swap that to 4. And there's no change in our little table here from at least what we can see. And then it has a 5-foot reach, and one target takes 7 points of slashing damage. So we don't have any kind of a multi-attack here, and we'll just simply put in 7 points of damage. Well, we can see immediately in the chart here, before we even get a chance to look, that our Ratings have moved a bit, but haven't quite hit the expected CR of 2 so far. But let's take a look at what the claw does. And the target must also succeed a DC 11 Constitution saving throw or be paralyzed for 1 minute. Now, paralyzation is an incapacitating feature. The question is, if constrict from giant constrictor snakes gives a +1 effective AC bonus just for grappling or restraining a target, why wouldn't the claws paralyzing do the same thing? So just for argument's sake, let's go ahead and throw in the constrictor bonus here of +1 effective AC. Now, we're not seeing any kind of a shift here, and if we look at our table, we're also not seeing any other shifts as well. And at the moment, we're looking at a challenge rating of 1/2, but as I had mentioned before, I believe this shadow teleport is going to be a really big key factor here because of that ability to just teleport from, dim light and shadows to dim light and shadows. So, luckily the destination doesn't have to be line of sight, so this gives the Meenlock a huge amount of versatility for movement and using that bonus action, which it can't do anything else with. So at the moment, we're looking at an OCR of 1/2 and a DCR of 1/4, but our final CR rating is coming out to be a CR 1/2. Now that, like I said again, is before we look at Shadow Teleport, and I really think this is a similar case of Nimble Escape. So if we throw in the Nimble Escape here, we're going to see an immediate jump in our numbers, and the DCR and the OCR end up becoming a 2 both, but that's because it's getting an effective +4 attack bonus and an effective +4 armor class bonus. So, what's going on here? Well, like I always say with Nimble Escape, it gives a huge bump. I mean, +4 attack bonus is already going to give a +1 shift in the CR value because of that that extra 4, because every 2 attack bonus or armor class that you give something is going to result in a +1 shift of that respective classification. And then if you up it another 2 to 4, that's going to immediately shift the CR by 1. So in most cases, when you shift a combination of 2 attack bonus and 2 armor class, that will end up being a CR shift of 1. And also if you shift, just straight up +4 attack bonus will result in a +1 CR shift, and vice versa with armor class. So my next question is, it's only teleporting and it's not allowing for advantage, but it is throwing it into the shadows. So I think that's what is allowing the monster here to get this CR2 range, or get this CR2 range, because Shadow Teleport with a recharge of 5 to 6, which we might only see once every 3 rounds, could effectively bump this up a little bit, but it really depends on how often we see Shadow Teleport recharge. So it's hard to say whether or not this is actually a CR2 monster or not. I'm going to lean more into probably a CR1 rather than a CR2, because the Shadow Teleport only allows once every 3 rounds. And if that's the case, then our attack bonus would be something more to the kin of, let's do some math here. Round down, let's see here, 4 + 4 + 8 because of the Nimble Escape, right? So the first 2 rounds, we would say it's going to be a normal attack bonus, and then the 3rd round, we're going to up it to +4, and we're going to divide by 3, and we end up with an attack bonus of 5. All right, that's not terrible. Let's get rid of Nimble Escape. It's shifting the monster's OCR to a 1 like I had suggested. Alright, well what about the AC bonus? Well, that's going to shift it from a 16. Alright, so first off, let's get rid of Constrict and see if that makes any difference. So we're going to do something similar. We're going to take the round down feature again. So we're going to say round down. 2 rounds of 15 AC plus another round of 19 AC. We're going to divide that by 3, and we're going to end up with an overall average of 16 AC. Well, if the Fear Aura, no, not the Fear Aura, I'm sorry, if the Claws, when they hit, also is also dealing that +1 effective AC bonus, let's put the Constrict back in and see what we get now, since we have an average of 16 AC because of the Shadow Teleport once. Alright, just like I thought. Our effective AC jumps from an average of 16 with Shadow Teleport coming in 1 time, plus the 1 from the Constricting ability of Paralyzing of the Claws. This would up it to a 17, and we're only sitting at a DCR and an OCR of 1, so this Meenlock is severely underrated. Well, I wouldn't say severely underrated, but with all that math we had to go through just to figure out what might be going on with our monster here, this is an overrated monster for sure. Not severely, but definitely overrated. So how can we fix that? That's something I'm going to look at later on, and I'll post that in the shorts version of this. Right now, more than likely, I would say just buff up the hit points a little bit, and also maybe give it a second attack. You know what, since we've done that already, let's see what happens if we give it 2 attacks. So the 7 becomes a 15 because of half damages. And then we would up the hit points. Well, you know what? If we up the hit points anymore, we're going to see a major shift here in our chart. I mean, we're already looking at, with 15 damage, an OCR, base OCR of 2, and then a shift to 3 because of the attack bonus difference because of that Shadow Teleport. So with that small shift of Shadow Teleport and giving it the +4 attack bonus that one time because it's able to kind of move around and suddenly strike from nowhere, you know, we're looking at a pretty strong monster already. What could we do? Let's see. Let's add in a couple of variables here. Let's shift up the hit dice to 9 instead of 7. Let's see how much that increases. All right. Well, that's too much. Already giving it 2 more hit dice and going from 31 to 40 average hit points, plus the bonus to Fear shifts it up to 50. We're seeing a big jump here to a CR3 monster now. So let's tone it back to 8 and see what happens there. Okay, that's not terrible. We end up still with a DCR of 1 and an OCR of 3. So let's take a look at this. We have an average of 45 hit points, which we can see right off the bat that our hit points for 45 puts us into the CR 1/4 range. And then because of the 17 AC, that's a +4 bonus, shifting it from 1/4 up to 1. Plus the OCR, that is a 2 base plus the 1 shift to an OCR 3. So we have our 1 plus our 3, which equals a 4, and then averaged out we get a CR2 Meenlock. So here's our quick fix. Give it a multi-attack of 2, and maybe 1 more hit die. And we have a CR2 Meenlock. If I have time, maybe I will throw together a PDF correcting this Meenlock and giving it the actual rating, because otherwise this is either a CR 1/2 or a 1. Really depends on how you feel about the Shadow Teleport ability. And there you have it. That's how you break down and expose the monster's CR values. If you like what you've seen, hit the subscribe button down below and give the video a thumbs up. I post daily, and until next time, thanks for watching.